Should I join through mine as well?
So welcome to the second webinar on the title Removing Barriers to Digital Inclusion. Second webinar within the working group called Vulnerable Groups at Risks of Exclusion. I would like to welcome our presenters from Browse Aloud, David Robinson and Thomas Crawford. And also I would like to thank all participants to join this webinar. At the beginning of this webinar, I would like to make a short introduction of the Unite IT network and 4 working groups. So Unite IT is a network and community of people interested in digital inclusion and digital empowerment in Europe. And it's a proud project funded by European Commission. The main objective of the project is to create an online community centered on collecting and sharing practices on how digital competencies can assist groups at risks of exclusion to reconnect with learning as means to foster employability, social inclusion, and social cohesion. This is a second webinar within the group Vulnerable Groups. The first webinar was ICT and persons with disabilities, and it was held in July. This is the second webinar, and this webinar will focus on sharing the way to increase digital inclusion and to encourage personal empowerment of the most vulnerable through the use of a specific assistive technology. Central part of the webinar will be devoted to presentation of an innovative cloud-based tool, Browse Aloud. Also, we will have a live presentation of this tool. Also, before we start, I would like to invite all of you to propose some new topics and speakers for our next third webinar, which will be held in March or April. You could either present some of your best practices or recommend some of others' good practices. And I would like now to invite David and to make the presenter. So, David, it's your turn.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us wherever you are. Today I'm going to talk about removing barriers to digital inclusion and the challenges that are out there for people who currently cannot go online. And the issue is that if you cannot go online, there are a lot of barriers to you. So it's very important in terms of creating an inclusive society that we find ways to actually help everybody participate. And as part of that, I'll be introducing you to our product, Browse Aloud, which is designed specifically to promote digital inclusion. We will be taking questions, so if you could actually make a note of any questions that you have, very pleased to have a question and answer session at the end. So a little bit about our company. The company is called TextHelp, and we basically take people from literacy to life. We work with many large organizations. We're a certified gold partner with Microsoft. But in terms of the EU, we actually work on a project called Cloud for All, which you may or may not know. It's designed to enable people to have their own personal preferences held in the web. So in the future, when you go to an ATM machine to withdraw money, your preferences will be known and information will be presented to you in a way that suits your need. We're also members of the British Assistive Technology Association and the Business Disability Forum, among others. The issue really that we face is that millions of citizens out there actually need help to go online. When we look at Europe, 80 million people do not actually have basic online skills. And basic online skills relates to the ability to go online safely, make a transaction, and interact. And if you look at the actual size of that, it actually equates to 6 countries in terms of overall population. So it's a very challenging thing for everyone in Europe, in all countries. Dyslexia is something which generally 10 to 15% of the population may have. And in Europe, according to the Dyslexia Association of Europe, there are 50 million people who have some form of dyslexia. And if you have dyslexia, that actually can impair access to education, work, and your own personal development. And then there are people with a physical disability, people who are unable to actually move, perhaps not hold a mouse or whatever. But overall, again, a very large percentage of the population actually have reduced mobility. And of course, reduced mobility also comes with the aging population. As you get older, unfortunately, things start to stop working. So it's very important, actually, we also take into account the needs of those people. And also then we have also linked to the aging population is the deterioration in eyesight. So obviously 30 million people have got some visual impairment. That includes a very small percentage who are actually blind. And people who are blind will hopefully have access to a screen reader, but it's the other people who are partially sighted that we can actually help with Roslin. Another major factor, and there's not really a statistic that I could find for this, is a lot of people have actually moved from one country to another, which means that, for example, in schools in the UK, schools could actually have people speaking up to 35 different languages inside a school. So the ability for somebody to integrate and to actually participate in society when they don't speak the language of the country that they're living in is a challenge as well, both for them, but also for government services and educational services and job-seeking services that people need to find. And the unfortunate thing is that the divide is actually widening, this digital divide. With so many things now being online, more than 99% of jobs require some interaction online to actually find or apply for a job. If you're not online, you will actually pay more for goods because you actually cannot obtain best value. And with governments pushing more services online, it actually is creating an unequal access to those public services. In the UK, for example, to obtain an appointment with your doctor, you may actually have to make an appointment. You have a choice. The preference is you make an appointment online, or you could actually make a phone call. But if you make a phone call, you'll find the telephone is engaged, and you can only make that call between 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock. So someone who has access to the internet and can read and can actually apply for an appointment can actually get an appointment that suits them more easily than someone who actually cannot go online. So this is becoming a very, very major issue, I think, everywhere in the world. And more people are now using the internet for communication. So if you actually can't go online yourself, you're going to become excluded from those groups that actually interact online. And of course, if you're a young person and you don't actually have internet at home, you are seriously disadvantaged compared to any other students who actually do, because so many assignments now require online research and information that can only be obtained by the internet. And digital inclusion matters to everyone. It's not just the people that are excluded that it's important to. It's important to society. If excluded, then essentially your life expectation is shorter, your educational attainment will be lower, you'll be more likely to end up in prison, you're more likely to not have a job. So essentially, you're going to be less fulfilled. So it's very important for society, and also you're not going to contribute. You're more likely to be taking money from society in benefits as opposed to contributing to society. So it's very important for everyone, because everyone counts, that digital inclusion is actually a major consideration. The good news, however, is that there are ways to overcome some of these barriers. Assistive technology has actually been available for over 20 years. So people who are blind can obtain a screen reader or a magnifier to actually make the text larger when they move across it. And even people with dyslexia could obtain a text reader that will actually read content out loud. The difficulty, though, is that these all cost money. And there is a negative correlation with people who have a disability and the amount of money that they earn. So if you have a disability, you're more likely to have less money. And you're also more likely to need assistive technology. But you're also more likely not to be able to afford it. So basically, it's a double whammy against you. And in thinking about this, my company TextHelp came up with an idea to develop a social business model based on a technology which we call BrowserLoud, whereby we actually will give this technology away free at the point of use. And the idea is that it's free to the end user, it's the person that can't afford to pay, but we'll charge the content owner an annual subscription. And we have decades of experience in working with literacy and digital inclusion projects working around the world. So we really do know how to take care of all the tough stuff. And we help boost digital skills, engagement in society, and personal achievement, thereby helping make the impossible possible. And the tool that I want to talk about today particularly is called BrowserLoud. This is an assistive technology which adds speech, reading, translation support, and some other magnification support to websites. It actually enables people to go online who otherwise couldn't. Those people are in 4 primary groups. They may have dyslexia, a low literacy, a mild visual impairment, or they may speak English as a second language in the UK, or they may have German as a second language in Germany or French in France. So essentially what we do is we provide an assistive technology toolbar onto the website, and it covers a whole range of different functions which I'm actually going to go through with you, and I'm also going to demonstrate. But just first to explain that this is a cloud-based product, so everything happens in the cloud. We actually whitelist a website so that when 2 or 3 lines of JavaScript are added to a website, that will then create a button, and when that button is pressed, it will make a call on our speech server, and the speech server will then deliver the assistive technology toolbar. It's a very, very simple process to actually add BrowserLoud to a website. It's a very simple process for a user to use BrowserLoud, as I will show you. One of the key things that BrowserLoud does is it reads text out loud, and it highlights in 2 different colors. It highlights the sentence that it's reading from in one color, and it also highlights the word that it's actually reading in a different color. This is very important because it's a proven method of learning. improving comprehension, understanding, and also navigating. And part of the reason for this is that information goes into two different parts of your brain, so you have two different brain imprints for the same information. And you can change the foreground and background colors to suit your requirements, but the default standard that we use is a blue on yellow, which actually is a commonly good combination of colors for people who have dyslexia. I'm just really going to go through very quickly each feature. I will be demonstrating it, but I also wanted everyone to be able to understand what it was I was demonstrating by reading it. We actually provide a translator, and we can write and speak translations in 35 languages, and we have written translation in a further 43. And that can be turned on or off as desired by the website owner, depending on the content which they may have. It's also possible to take content from a website and actually convert it to MP3 as a visitor, so you can listen to it later. Or if you own the content as a website owner, you can actually use this tool to actually set up a podcast of information very, very easily. As I spoke earlier, we also magnify the text as it's read aloud, and I'll be showing that to you. And we also have an ability to actually put a mask on the screen, which actually helps people who prefer to actually have less information that could have a cognitive overload. So we help that. And equally, for people with cognitive issues, we can simplify a web page, and I'll show you how a complicated web page can, on the click of one button, be made very simple. We're all made differently, so one size does not fit everybody, which is why we actually have the ability for settings to be set to actually meet your individual needs. So you can pick different voices, you can change the speed of the voice, text size, contrasts, and other features. So now we're going to go to the demonstration. And if you see my screen, this is the Browse Aloud website. I am going to use more than one website, and I am going to also work in more than one language. But this is the Browse Aloud website, and we have actually added 2 lines of JavaScript, which actually creates this panel here. And when I press the button, it launches a toolbar. And what I can do now is simply hover over text.
The internet is a cost-effective way of reaching your large percentage of those people lack the digital skills to buy or use your services online.
It's also possible to read content by highlighting text that you want to read and just pressing the play button.
Browse Aloud adds speech, reading and translation support to your website, facilitating access and participation for those people with print disabilities, dyslexia, low literacy, mild visual impairments, and those with English as a second language.
I mentioned the translation, and translation is a very, very important feature which our customers actually are very keen to use. And we have more than 7,000 websites around the world using this. So simply, I have a drop-down menu, and I can pick the language that I would like to listen to. Let's listen to German. And what this does, it actually translates the web page. This is actually using Google Translate. So I'm obviously having fun with the internet connection because it really should have happened before this. Okay, So let me skip that bit for now, and I will come back to. I'll come back to that shortly.
12 million people can't understand.
Sorry, I'll just turn it off. Another thing which we do is we can actually save information to MP3. So all I do is I just highlight the text that I wish
Browse out at speech.
Sorry. Let me just change that. We've got a little hiccup here. So it's in the middle. It's halfway between translating the text and not translating the text.
12 million people can't.
Okay. So to use the MP3, I would highlight the area of text that I want to listen to, and simply press the button and just give it a name, and that actually then generates the MP3.
Browse aloud, add speech, reading and translation support to your website, facilitating access and participation for those people with print disability.
So it's very, very straightforward to use.
Browse aloud, add speech, reading and translation support to your website, facilitating access and participation for those people with print disabilities, dyslexia, low literacy, mild visual impairments, and those with English as a second language.
Okay, so there you saw the magnification, and we have three sizes of magnification: large, and extra large. I will turn that off. We also have an ability to use a screen mask, and what this does, this allows me to actually focus only on the part of the text which is being read.
The internet is a cost-effective way of reaching your audience, but a large percentage of those people lack the digital skills to buy or use your services online.
So I can use that with or without speech. And if some of you remember learning to read, one of the things that some people did to help learn to read was to use a ruler underneath the words, and this can also be used like an electronic ruler. So I'm going to move onto a different website now. This is one of our customers, the student loan company, and the way they have implemented Browse Aloud is to put some text, and when I click the text, that will then generate the toolbar. So I've mentioned now, when you look at this this website, there's a lot going on. Okay, we have got a picture in the middle. We've got pictures all down the right hand side, stuff at the bottom as well. So for people with cognitive issues, there may be too much information going on, and sometimes there can be things moving on the website as well. So we have a simplify button, and what the simplify button does, it just, whoops, it's actually picked up a cookie, so I've shown the wrong thing here. If I just do this on this website, we have a lot going on this website. You can see there's
Site mobile Bagnères-sur-Seine.
Okay, well that was it, reading an alt tag. So there's a lot of information on here. What we can do is we can actually just focus on the main story. Okay, and again, we have the ability to read absolutely everything on this.
Jeudi 5 février à 20h30, au cinéma L'Alcazar, rue de la Station, en présence du réalisateur Vincent Garanquet et du producteur Christophe Rossignon. Prix des places.
Okay. I'm going to actually try the translation. So wish me luck. See if it works this time. Okay, that's what normally happens. I'm not quite sure what happened the last time. So now I can read in English.
Thursday, the 5th of February 2030, Cinema Alcazar 1, Station Street, in the presence of the director and producer Vincent Guerin, Christophe Roslin.
Okay.
Ticket.
So there you get an idea of what it, how it reads in translation. Now we can actually print this information out.
Print close.
And I can just turn off that reading. But we can also change the theme. And we can also change the print size. Okay, and I'll just take that and take that off. And now I'll just go back to my own site and just actually show you the settings. So these are the user preferences that can be changed. So you can change the different themes. You can have the magnification on all the time if you wish. You can have the hover speaking on if you wish, or leave it off. You can make the voice go faster or slower. I'll make it go faster. You've all been very patient listening to me. We can actually identify links. So if you have a link that actually is inside text, it can actually speak out link, the word link, in advance of that. And of course, we also read PDFs, and all the features that I've shown you are also available in PDFs. And one of the other things to say about BrowserLoud is that individually, we actually save individual settings. So if someone is using a shared computer and they create a profile with BrowserLoud, no matter what computer they go to the next time, it will provide the voice, the speed, the text size, everything that they actually prefer will be provided to them. So that is half an hour on looking at the reasons why we do this, what we do. I'm open now to any questions that you have with regard to this product or digital inclusion.
Thank you, David, very much for presentation of your BrowserLoud tool. I think it's very interesting and inspiring for all of us. So now I will open the floor for any question. If you want to ask, please just unmute your microphone. You will see on the right side red, orange icon for your microphone. So I think Gabriela.
Hi, thank you very much for this interesting presentation. It was really incredible what you are doing. I have a few questions. They're related, first of all, to the statistics you provided in the beginning of your presentation. You mentioned that 99% of jobs require some online interaction. Is this official source where you got it, or it's an approximate estimation of the obvious reality? Meaning, is there a report or a research that you used? And also regarding the students that are missing on school assignments because they don't have access to internet at home, do you have also statistics of what percentage of students may have this disadvantage? At least, I don't know, in the UK. Oh, a bit better at European level, but I doubt it. And finally, I'm interested in how many customers do you have? So how many websites are using your tool already, and since when it exists? When did you develop it? Well, that would be it. Thanks.
Okay. Well, look, thank you very much indeed, Gabriela. The jobs online statistics, I'm not quite sure where that statistic has come from, but so I'll have to come back to you on that. The number of students at home, I'm actually not certain of the number of students at home who do not have internet access. But in the UK, the previous government in the UK were very concerned about that particular topic. And what they did, they actually gave free laptops and internet access to 190,000 students. And included in that was our software, actually our Read and Write software, which helps students learn to read and write. I don't have the stat, but I know in the UK, I think it's around about 82% of people have internet access. But I don't know of a stat about the number of students who don't have internet access at home. That would be a good one to find. In terms of the number of customers that we have, 7,000 websites around the world use BrowserLoud. So in the States, the House of Representatives, US Senate, Smithsonian University. In the UK, 40% of municipal government websites use BrowserLoud, hundreds of social housing websites, charities. We have got major enterprises using it, Citigroup. We're actually active in North America. In Europe, it's primarily, we're active in Holland, Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, and also another English-speaking territory in Australia. So about 7,000 around the world and growing. And we've been doing this. We've been doing this now for the last 11 years.
Thank you very much. So actually, this tool exists since 11 years. It's been existing for 11 years now.
Well, 11 years. We have actually got more than one tool. We have we started off really having a download, and that is still available in certain languages, but we've moved our product completely into the cloud over the last, well, for more than 2 years now. So this product actually works on pretty much any device. It'll work on a laptop, it'll work on a phone, it'll work on a tablet. It works on Android and iOS. So it works on a typically, you know, the previous 2 to 3 versions we actually did in terms of operating system and browser.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very useful information.
Gabriel and David, some other questions?
Yeah, can I put some questions?
Yes, of course, Morten.
It's Morten from Denmark. Thank you, David, for a very good presentation. I got a few questions. The presentation you gave, will that be available for us to go back to?
Yes.
And also, would it be possible for us to download this program so we can test it? Okay.
Well, yes, the presentation will be made available. And regarding testing it, there are 2 things. This product is actually available on existing websites. So there are 2 things that you can do. One, you can simply go to a website such as BrowserLoud, although that's our own website, and we actually, I think you can still see my screen.
Yes.
We actually have many of these are just single-page reference websites. But for example, I don't think we have implemented the Danish voice yet.
I can't see it. No.
No, but I know we have access to a Danish. I know we have access to a Danish voice. Okay. So I know we have access to Danish voice. So I'll check that out for you. But essentially, we can go on to any of these websites, and you can actually see it. You can see it working.
Hello guys, sorry to interfere. I'm from Paradigm Housing, and we are using this application at the moment on our website. So if you want to try it, feel free to go to our website.
Okay.
So I'm just putting the URL on the chat window.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay. I've got one more technical question. You showed how the preference worked. Can the user set the preference as a standard, or do they have to set the preference every time they go in?
The preference can be set as a standard, so when they finish their browsing session and they come back, even on a different computer, BrowseLoud, when they log in, will know who they are.
Thank you.
Exactly the same. The other part of the question about testing this is available for anybody's website, but to make it work on a website, we need to send you 2 or 3 lines of JavaScript, which you then inject into the web page.
Okay.
So if you want to test it on your own website, if there's anybody who wants to test it on their own website, if they contact us, send us an email, we certainly will talk them through how to do that, and we can give you a free test on it.
Very good. And your email address, will that be available?
Yes, it comes up at the very end, Gordon.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Morten. Some other questions?
This is Peter from Telecenter Europe, and I would like to ask how much it costs having this application or service for a website user to be embedded in the website.
Okay. The cost depends on the size of the site and the sector. So we have for the not-for-profit sector, we have a low price, and we have different prices depending on the actual size of the site and the sector. So it really can go from, from 500 euros up to, 25,000 euros for large corporation.
Per year?
That's an annual subscription, yes.
Okay.
But essentially, there are probably 20. It depends actually on the country. But I mean, typically in the UK, 20% of the population cannot interact online. When we look at countries such as Brazil, where there's a very, very high level of illiteracy, there's something like 50% of the population. And even the US of A, the United States, there's a very high population there who actually require reading support. So for us, it's important that the people that can pay do pay, but we also do have some people who actually share our values, and some small charities we would give it for free. But we can't give it for free for everybody, or we wouldn't be here at all for anybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this a per year price or it's forever?
Yes. No. The subscription is an annual subscription cost, and we also have. We also offer, 15% discount based on a 2-year subscription.
Thank you. Okay, some other questions?
And we also give free trials to people. So one of the great things is that you can actually see it working on your own website before you make a decision, and you can show it to colleagues or whatever.
Hey, hello, David. This Gordana from International Aid Network Serbia. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the great presentation. Really a great tool. I just have one question regarding the languages available for translation. What is your policy on expanding the list of languages? Because currently, for example, I think that there are no Balkan languages included at all in the translation possibility. So I'm just interested how do you decide on adding some more languages? Is it the market or is there any chance that some of the Balkan languages could be included in the palette soon?
Yeah. Well, what we do is we use speech engines. So that there has to be a working speech engine for us to be able to use it. So we actually work with, primarily we work with a company called Nuance, who are the largest manufacturer of speech engines in the world, and so these are really the languages that they offer that work with our tool. So in terms of translation, we work with Google. So this is Google Translate. So we can translate Serbian, but at the moment we're not aware of a speech engine. Well, there's certainly not one from Nuance that we can use. But if somebody did have a speech engine, we would be interested enough to investigate how it could be made to work with Barcelona. So we're not trying to exclude anybody, but not everybody yet has got working speech engines.
Yes, thanks, David. I think that there are some speech engines available. As for Serbia, I'm sure that there are, but I don't know what is their policy on cooperation. But maybe we can explore this with this company, or actually it's one of the companies working with the faculty, technical faculty. Thanks. Yeah.
No, I welcome if you have information on that, please send it. Please send it to us. That would be fine. We'll certainly follow that up.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Roslin. Some other questions? You need just to unmute your microphone before you ask.
I've just got one small question for David. I just want to see if I understood it correct. The subscription is the company or the organizations to their website, but how do the individual end user then use it? Can they use it only on the organization sites, or can they use it on any websites they visit?
No, this actually works on those websites that subscribe to the service. So it only works on those websites that have actually embedded the lines of code and are subscribing.
Okay.
Thank you. Morten?
Thank you.
That's okay, Morten.
Yes, you just fell out. Thank you.
Okay.
That clarified it.
Okay.
Okay, some other questions? Okay, so I will thanks again Robert and Thomas and
Thank you.
all
Okay.
from Browse Aloud. Yes.
Could I also just give a summary, please, because I've just my details to give, but I just also wanted to finish up by saying why it's interesting why people should consider using Browse Aloud. It does help remove barriers to digital inclusion. It promotes social inclusion, which is very important for the older population in particular, where people can become less and less involved as parents raise their children and their children move away. But it's also about personal empowerment. It's not good enough to say that when you're if you need to see a doctor, that somebody else will make an appointment for you. I don't want somebody else to say what's wrong with me, or if I'm talking to a bank, I don't want, even my children or my friends to know my financial situation. So it's important that it's in the person's hands and it gives personal empowerment. And it also helps the most vulnerable groups. I've said already that it works on all common platforms, but one of the things which should also be considered is that the cost of interaction, the cost of actually working online compared to doing something in person where somebody comes into an office is like 99%. And so it's it's a cost-effective thing. So it makes it easy for government websites and for businesses to actually do the right thing. So it should actually save the money as well as actually promote inclusion. And I'm just going to leave my contact details on screen for you. So that's where you can reach me.
Thank you, David. So maybe now we have some questions. If not, then I will thanks again to David and to all people from Browser Out for helping us to organize this webinar. I will post this presentation on Unite IT working group vulnerable groups at risks of exclusion, so all of you can download and see it, how it looks like. And also, I would like to invite you again to propose some new topics for the next webinar and to propose some new speakers for the next webinars. The first webinar will be probably in March or April. So thank you all for participation.
Thank you. Will we pass the ownership back over to you then, Ivan?
Yeah, I can do it. Thank you. Bye.
Well, thank you, Ivan, for organizing this webinar, and thank the presenters to be here with us.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you
Bye-bye.
for coming.
Thank you all.
What do you think? Stop open.